Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how you can easily take down Kuva Liches in Warframe as a newer player in 2025. Now, this is important because Kuva Liches drop Kuva weapons, and they can be some of the most powerful weapons in the game if you get the right elemental bonuses and you know how to mod them correctly. So not wasting any time, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. The first thing that I recommend that you have done is you come to your codex and you go to your main quests. Now, we need to have a few quests pre-completed before we even attempt to take down a Kuva Lich. So the first big one is having the War Within quest completed. This is basically going to unlock the ability to actually confront a Kuva Lich in the first place. Then we need to have completed the Rising Tide quest. This is going to get us our Railjack, and it's going to allow us to actually fully take down our Lich once we have it. And then I recommend having completed the New War quest. So you have the Naderic Bow, and then also the Angels of the Zarman quest. So we have access to the Zarman location. So then we can talk to Cavaliero and get ourselves a Latem Incarnate pistol. The Latem pistol, in my opinion, is quite important, especially if you're a newer player, because it gives us access to a lot of Incarnate buffs. So if you're not familiar, this is the Zarman location that you unlock after the Angels of the Zarman quest, and we're heading here to the Chrysalith. Then once you're in the Chrysalith, go ahead and fast travel to the NPC Cavaliero, press Browse Wares, and you're looking for this Latem blueprint right here. So you're going to need a little bit of Zarman standing, you're going to need the Void Plume pinions, the Void Plume quills, and Void Gel orbs. I've covered how to get most of that stuff in another video where I talk about increasing your reputation with all of the different syndicates. Is called How to Farm Your Syndicate Standing the Right Way. Go ahead and check that video out if you need a little help actually getting this weapon from this NPC. But like mentioned, this pistol is very important because you get access to very powerful buffs in its evolutions. So this buff right here is called Devouring Attrition, and it's 50% chance to deal 2000 plus damage on non-critical hits. And that is just a massive damage bonus, which is going to enable you to take down a Lich quite easily, regardless of whatever other weapons and mods you've got on. So the full loadout that I kind of recommend running for taking down a Kuva Lich for the first time is a Rhino. Doesn't matter that mine is a Rhino Prime. You can use a regular Rhino, and the results are going to be just the same. So this is the build that I'm going to be rocking in today's video. The Naderic Bow from the new War Quest. This is the build that I'm rocking on that. Then on my Latem, I'm rocking this build. Now, if you don't have Accelerated Isotope, you can go ahead and replace that for the 90% Toxin mod instead. My Latem's evolutions are as follows. So on Evolution 2, we've got Rapid Wrath. On Evolution 3, we've got Lethal Rearmament. Evolution 4, we've got Elemental Access, and then Evolution 5, Devouring Attrition. Then in my melee weapon slot, I've got the Zorus. Now, you may not have all of the things that I have on the Zorus build. So let's say, for example, you don't have Prime Pressure Point. You can go ahead and you can use the regular version. If you don't have Galvanized Reflex, you can swap that out for the likes of an Electric Damage mod, so on and so forth. You're probably not going to have melee influence if you're not super deep into the game. That comes from the Whispers in the Walls quest. So just try to get as close to this as you possibly can. I think the companion is quite important as well. I've made a video called How to Get the Only Companion That You'll Ever Need. Go ahead and check that out. That's going to give you access to this Panzer Vulpaphyla here. This is the build that I've got on right now on the actual Panzer itself. And this is the build that I've got on the Claws. But, you know, to be honest, this doesn't matter all that much. As long as you have the Rhino, the Latem, and I would say the Naderic, you're pretty much good to go. Now you've hopefully got your loadout sorted and ready. What we want to do is we want to come to our navigation, just sit at it, and make sure that you don't have an active Kuva Lich, Tenet Sister, or Technocyte Coda, because if you have either of the three of those, then you're going to have like a little icon down here beside the Nightwave banner, and we're not going to be able to spawn in our Lich. So you got to make sure that whatever one you have active, you kill them, and then you're going to be able to spawn in a new one. Next, I want you guys to take a look at this little picture that I've got on screen now, and go ahead and pick the Kuva weapon that you want. Alongside that, you want to choose the element that you want to. So there's elemental recommendations under every single Kuva weapon in this little picture. This is courtesy of the Warframe community Discord. Again, link is going to be in the description below. You're going to see toxin, you're going to see magnetic, sometimes heat, sometimes electric. It just depends on the weapon. Magnetic and toxin are quite good. This is important simply because this is going to determine what Warframe you're actually going to use to spawn in your Kuva Lich. Different Warframes guarantee different elemental bonuses on these weapons. So for example, if you were to take Mag in here, what's going to happen is your Kuva weapon is going to come out the other end with Magnetic. If you bring in Saren, it's going to come out the other end with Toxin. So I'm going to have a list of all of the different Warframes and what element they guarantee on screen now as well. Now, don't worry at all if you mess this part up where you accidentally spawn in a Kuva Lich with the wrong element. Because what you can do is later on in the game, you can unlock this little item called a elemental vice, and you attach that to your weapon like so, and it's just going to let you change what element is on the weapon on the fly. So I just changed that from being electric to toxin. Now I can just go ahead, press it again, and go back to electric if I really wanted to. So my goal for today is I want to get myself a Kuva Ogress because I want to increase the elemental damage bonus that I have on my Ogress. So it doesn't matter what element I actually spawn in, as long as I get myself a Kuva Ogress. What I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to infuse the Ogress that I get into my already existing one to make it do more damage. Just to show you guys what that process looks like, I have a Kuva Dracoon here, which deals 51.1% bonus radiation damage. I go ahead, I press upgrade, and implying I have another one in my inventory, I can press actions, then I can press Valence Fusion, and I can select one of the other ones that I've got. So let's say I wanted to get rid of this magnetic one because it's quite a low damage bonus. I just select that. I then select option 1. I type in fuse, and what's going to happen is now my weapon is going to have 56% bonus elemental damage instead of just 51. So let's say, for example, I wanted to spawn in a toxic Kuva Ogress. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a Warframe like Saren, and then I'm going to go to Cassini on Saturn. This is the non-Steel Path version of the mission. I'm just going to load into this and run through it as normal. So just run through the mission as normal. Go ahead, kill the capture target, capture him, but take it a little bit slow because we're looking for a certain type of enemy to spawn in. And you'll know that enemy spawns in because you'll see one of the large enemies pop up on your screen after that little flash that just happened. So if we keep on running through the mission now, eventually the big red guys from the War of Inquest, they're going to start talking to us, and it's going to mark a Larvling enemy for us to mercy kill. So there is the big guy talking, and there is the Larvling marked. So what we want to do is we just want to jump over to this guy, go ahead and shoot him, walk up to him, and see what Kuva weapon it gives us. Now, I don't want a Kuva comb, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and complete the mission without stabbing that enemy, and that's going to make it so my Kuva Lich doesn't spawn in. But then the next mission, I'm guaranteed to basically get a different Kuva weapon. So you just go ahead and keep on repeating that process until you get the Kuva weapon that you want from that Larvling enemy. So after about 10 runs, I got my Kuva Ogress. I execute the Larvling like so. You're going to see that little animation play. And hopefully you're not going to die like me while you're watching the animation play. And then you just finish the mission. Now, once you get out of the mission and you go into your orbiter, your screen is going to go red. Your guy is going to talk to you. Mine's just called Mara. Then once they're done blabbering, you can access your navigation and you'll have a little square, a little icon in the bottom right-hand corner beside Nightwave. Click on that and then you can view the bonus that you got on your weapon. So you can see I got a Toxin, 31%. Now, the lowest you can get is 25%. The highest you can get is 60%. So this little menu that we're on is quite important. You can see on the right-hand side here, it says Requiem attempts are tracked here. You can see at the top, we've got 3 empty slots. It says known Requiems at the bottom, and it asks us to modify our Parazon. So if we go ahead and we click on that, you're going to see that your Parazon now has 3 empty slots at the top. Now, this is reserved for Requiem mods. So you can see I've got one here called Fast. I've got other ones called Jahu. And I've got some called Kra. So to kill our Kuva Lich, we actually need to have multiple of the different types of these mods, right? So you're going to need maybe a Fast mod, maybe a Jahu mod, maybe a Kra mod. Maybe you need a lock mod. We don't know what mods we need yet because we actually have to reveal that by killing certain enemies. The enemies in question, called Thralls, can be first found on Earth. You can see that it's covered by a red mist. So if I were to go ahead and start this E Prime Exterminate mission, you can see that it's level 55 to 75. If I jump in here, what's going to happen is the Grineer enemies, they're going to be Kuva Grineer enemies, and some of them are going to be marked. So you can see it's just a normal exterminate mission. We've got that red symbol there, so that's where the enemies are. And then this is the Thrall marker. So we want to travel to that Thrall enemy and just go ahead and kill them. So I'm going to damage buff myself a little bit. There's the Thrall. I'm going to kill these enemies behind them just to show you guys. So now we Parazon finisher them like so. And then we're going to get a little bit of progress up there at the top, Requiem Murmur. So basically, as you play these missions, you keep on killing those Thrall enemies until that circle is totally full. So I just exited that mission. You'll see that your Kuva Lich is going to steal resources from you whenever you complete missions on the planet that they're currently occupying. So let's say, for example, I went ahead and I killed the boss here on Earth to farm for Hydroid, right? There's a chance that my Kuva Lich will actually steal one of the blueprints that I need to craft Hydroid at the end of the mission. So just keep that in mind if you're a newer player who's trying to like grind for specific things on a planet like Earth. So yeah. So as you kill the Thralls in the Kuva Lich occupied missions, they're going to have a 5% chance to drop a Requiem relic. And we need these Requiem relics to access Requiem Fisher missions, to then open the Requiem relics to get the Requiem mod. So if I hover over this one, for example, you can see that the uncommon reward drops Kra and Netra. Then this one drops Locke and Zada. The other one, Jahu and Vom. And then finally, Vas and Risk. So I recommend opening these as soon as you get them, because you need one of each of every single mod, especially if you plan on farming multiple Kuva weapons. Whenever you get one of the mods, they have 3 uses each, meaning you can use that one mod to kill 3 Kuva Liches. You ideally want to have some of these mods equipped onto your Parazon before your first encounter with your Kuva Lich, because what we have to do is we have to guess the mods, and we also have to guess the order that the mods have to be equipped in, right? So for example, let's just go ahead and guess. Let's throw on Vas, let's throw on Jahu, and let's throw on Kra. And now what I want to do is I want to keep on playing those territory missions, so on Earth, until my Kuva Lich spawns in. Now, if I go to my navigation again and I click that little symbol, you can see that this little bar here has actually got a little bit filled up because I played one of those missions. The more filled this bar is, the more likely it is that your Lich is going to spawn in. So our goal now is to keep on playing those missions, keep on killing the Thralls until we learn what our first Requiem mod is. We're going to label the first Requiem mod that we learn as Requiem mod A. And then we have a little flow chart, which is going to explain how you actually go about stabbing your Lich in the most efficient way. I'm going to have that appearing on screen now. Again, shout out to the Warframe community Discord for making this and supplying this. Link is going to be down in the description below again. So I'm just going to keep on playing these missions. I'm going to keep on killing the Thralls, and there's a chance that my Kuva Lich might spawn in. If he does, I'm going to stab him, and if we're lucky, I will just have some of this order correct. Like, I'll only learn if the first one is correct, basically. If the first one is correct. If the first one is correct and the second one isn't, well, all we know is the first one. And if the first one is incorrect, all we know is that the first one is incorrect. All right, so my Kuva Lich hasn't yet spawned in, and we have just learned what my A mod is, and it is actually fast, so we actually guessed right. But just because we've learned the mod, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to go in the one slot. So this is the A mod. Doesn't mean that it goes in the one slot. It could go in 2 or it could go in 3. We don't know. We need to figure that out. So now I keep on spamming those missions until my Lich spawns in. Then I stab him, and we're going to test to see if A belongs in 1. Okay, so what Mr. Mara has spawned in my mission. I'm playing Rhino. What I want you guys to do is bring out your Latum, turn on the Incarnate form, and then if he doesn't jump away from me, I can just go ahead, blast him, melee him. So as you can see, fast in my number 1 slot, so my A mod in my 1 slot is wrong. So we're going to have to revisit the flowchart to find out where we put our A mod now. So if we refer to our little flowchart again, what it says is, was A correct? If no, we need to learn what the second Requiem is. So that would be B. And then we put B into our number 1 slot and A into our number 2 slot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move fast into the number 2 slot. And if we're lucky, if my Kuva Lich spawns and I stab him, Yahoo might be right, it might be wrong. We don't know what our B mod is yet. So ideally, what I want to do is find out what B is next. After you stab your Lich for the first time, they are going to move from Earth to Mars, and your Kuva Lich is going to get stronger. What you'll see is they'll start to get more resistances and stuff like that. They have this little symbol here, which represents their level as well. So mine's at level 2 right now, and they can go all the way up to level 5. So our B mod is lock. So what we do is we type in lock. We throw that into the number 1 slot. So now our B mod is in number 1. And our A mod is in number 2. Mr. Mara has spawned in again after I've shifted my mods. So I swapped in my Latum, hit some headshots, didn't even need the Incarnate form there. So our B mod in the first slot is correct. Now let's see if the A mod in the second slot is right or wrong. It's unfortunately wrong, but now we know that goes into the final slot. And our goal is to find out what the C mod is and put that into slot 2. So something important to note, if you've played Warframe before, let's say you've killed a Kuva Lich in the past, there's a chance that you have a OULL Mod laying in your inventory. And this is basically a mod that has all of the Requiem mods built into one. So I could make my Kuva Lich flee to Railjack by simply just putting this OULL Mod in this slot and stabbing him now, even though I don't know the mod that has to go into this second slot, right? So on screen now, there's going to be a flowchart of what you would do if you have an OULL Mod from the very beginning of your Lich hunt. So if you just go ahead and follow that with the OULL Mod, you'll kill him a lot quicker than if you didn't have an OULL Mod. There's a chance that you get this OULL Mod at the very end after you've killed your Kuva Lich completely. So these are quite impactful for speeding up this entire process. So I can either go out of my way to keep on killing the frail enemies to reveal the final mod that will go in my second slot, or I can just let this OULL Mod stay here and just finish the, star chart part of this Kuva Lich hunt. I'm going to keep this OULL Mod in here just because this video is quite long already, and I might as well just speed up the process for myself too. So now I'm going to go ahead, try to get my Kuva Lich to spawn in one more time. Then I'm going to stab him and it's going to send him to Railjack. After my second stab, my Kuva Lich gets sent over to Ceres. All right, here we go. Final stab. My guy spawned in. You want to lay him in. Stab one time. You got the OULL Mod in the second slot, so it's just going to work. Very good. And then in our third slot was our fast. Here we go. And that has just sent our guy over to Railjack. You can see Saturn Proxima. All right, so our Kuva Lich has fled to Railjack, and that's indicated to us if I go back to my navigation by the little Kuva Lich icon that's beside the Railjack icon here. So if you come to your Railjack star chart, you can see Saturn, the little territory cloud right there. Kuva Lich confrontation, that's what you got to do. It's levels 65 to 70, so that is quite high level, especially for Railjack. I would say that if you're totally brand new to the game, come to the little Empyrean tab, so this star chart, then press on Void Storms and do some of the skirmish Void Storms to level up your Railjack. While you do these, you're going to get endo credits, other rewards like Hollow Key, Savagoth parts, etc. You're going to get Prime parts because you're opening relics, then a bunch of mods, and of course Railjack intrinsics and stuff like that. So just to give you guys a little glance at what I've got on my Railjack, here are all of the mods that I've got equipped to help with survivability and speed. Here are the battle mods, and here are the tactical mods. And then obviously I've got my intrinsics maxed out. You're not going to have these maxed out if you're watching a guide video. Then when it comes to the actual weapons and stuff that I've got on, here's the shield array, the engines, the plating, the reactor. Here are all of the different weapons, and you can pick most of that stuff up here in your dojo. So if you come to this little console here, you want to focus on picking up all of the Mark III stuff. So anything that is Mark III in here is going to be good enough to help you with your Kuva Lich confrontation. So all that's left is to actually go in and confront our Lich. So I'm going to go in with the loadout that I showed you guys at the start of the video, and we're just going to take him down. So first, basically, we're just doing a Railjack mission. So I got to kill 59 fighters, 3 cruise ships, and that's basically it. So we'll do that however you want to do it. Once you finish the Railjack portion, you just head into the ship, and we want to jump all the way over to where our Kuva Lich is spawned in at. Maybe go ahead and get some Incarnate juice in your Laden by getting some headshots prior to the fight starting. And there he is. That's Mara. Let's go kill him. Incarnate mode. Maybe some Iron Skin. Aim at him. He's down. Look at him. Very ugly. Whip out the Parazon. Wait for it. Hold down D to vanquish. Do a cool finisher move. Holy. Wow. Body slam. Right in the back of the neck. Got it. And that's it. So now you just return to your Railjack. Then you hit the navigation. And once we hit the navigation, we go to our dojo and back to our orbiter. Once you get back in your orbiter, you're going to get a inbox message, and it's going to be the weapon delivered to your foundry. So now if you go to your foundry, go to the in progress tab, you can see that the Kuva Ogress is sitting there fully crafted. Go ahead and claim it, and implying you've got the slots, it's going to be added right to your inventory. So we tap in Kuva Ogress, you can see there's my new one just sitting there ready. That is pretty much it for the video, guys. If you want more Kuva weapon related content, go ahead and click the video that is on screen now. It is a Kuva weapon tier list, and that's going to let you guys know what weapons you should prioritize getting, because these weapons actually require a ton of forma to get all of the mastery rank out of them. So some are really good, some are kind of mastery fodder, and I show you guys what is what in the next video. So thank you guys for watching this one. Hit the like button if you liked it. Sub for more Warframe content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.